For today's independent practice, we are going to continue to review themes. In class, we took a closer look at the lyrics to the song Let It Go. We were able to identify the main character as Elsa. We also were able to identify Elsa's problem by using a red circle. We identified how Elsa solved her problem using a blue triangle. We identify how Elsa changed from the beginning of the song to the end of the song by using a green star. And we were able to determine how she was feeling in the beginning of the song and how she was feeling in the end of the song. Whenever we see a character change, whether it be their feelings, maybe they were upset in the beginning of the story and they were excited at the end, or maybe they were greedy in the beginning of the story and they learned to be caring and giving in the end. Whenever we see a shift or a change in the character, whether it be feelings or a trait, we know that that character must have learned a lesson. The tricky part is figuring out exactly what that lesson may be. Let's take a look at some choices. There are 4. The first one is acceptance. Well, I know that that is only one word. And I also know that I'm not learning anything just by stating the word acceptance. And I'm fine that I'm asking myself, well, what about acceptance? When I ask myself that question, then I know that that is not a theme. That must be a topic. So I am going to cross that off. Next, it says, Elsa was afraid to be herself, but realized she needed to accept who she was to be happy and free. Well, I learned something about Elsa after reading that sentence, but I know that themes can't be specific. So Elsa's name can't be in the sentence if it really was a theme. So I know that I have to eliminate that choice as well. Number 3. Elsa learned to accept who she was. Again, I learned something about Elsa, but I know that themes cannot be specific. They can't have specific names or details from the story. So I need to eliminate that choice as well. Number 4, accept who you are. I don't see any specific details or a specific character's name, and I definitely learned something from reading that sentence. That must be the theme. This is a very important equation. We have gone over this many times. These are also the most important parts of a story. We identify the problem, we identify the solution, and we identify that change that the character is going through in order to get a lesson learned or theme. And remember, a theme is never specific. For today's assignment, you are going to need to read the stories from yesterday one more time. Today's focus is not determining the theme since we did that yesterday. The focus is explaining the change that the character went through that lets us know that they learned a lesson. So, for example, in this particular story, it starts off with a problem. Jan tried to read a book. She cannot do it. Jan was very upset and she needed help. Jan was not feeling very well in the beginning of the story. So I know that when I'm talking about feelings, I might choose a feeling that shows me exactly the way she was feeling. So I wouldn't choose something that said happy or excited. When I see the change in the character, I'm going to look for the green because that's going to show me that Jan had changed. In the end, Jan could do it. Jan was so proud of herself. There was a clear shift in the character's feelings. So I know that there obviously was a theme. Sometimes we can word themes in more than one way. There's not just one specific way that we need to write a sentence that is a theme. So, for example, it says, the more you practice, the better you will become. Someone else might have written, you should never give up. Both of those themes are perfect. They're just worded a little differently. Now let's take a look at the blue box. You are going to need to type the feeling that Jan felt in the beginning of the story inside the gray box where it says beginning. Watch again how I actually click inside the box and type. I place the mouse inside and I click until I see a black blinking line. Once I see the black blinking line, I know that I am now able to type. You're also going to notice that there is a word bank of different feelings. You will need to choose the feeling that the character was in the beginning of the story. Then you will need to choose the feeling that the character was in the end of the story. Jan was not very happy in the beginning. So I know that happy and excited are not going to be feelings that I'm going to want to choose. Even proud. If someone's proud, that means that they think that they're doing very well and they're happy with what they have done. That was not how Jan was feeling in the beginning. Jan may have been angry, but I didn't really see her slam any books or scream at the top of her lungs. But I definitely think she was upset. So I am going to type upset inside the box. Now let's look at the end. She could do it. Jan was so proud of herself. Well, happy would definitely be a good one. Excited? Or maybe even proud. Any of those would really fit nicely. I'm going to choose excited because I see that there's an exclamation, but you also could choose proud, considering the word proud was actually used in the story. There's a clear change in the character from the beginning to the end of the story. That is how I know that Jan had learned a lesson. You are going to need to do this for the next two task cards. Notice that this particular task card, the character's traits are changing. So you need to identify the type of person that Pam was in the beginning and the type of person she became at the end. And then type that trait inside the gray box.